Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. First off, let me start off by saying, let me apologize to the subscribers because AM Sports Media has been a bit gapped in the month of April because of everything that's been going on currently in the White household. I want to first and foremost congratulate my daughter, Ashley, for her big day tomorrow. She will be graduating from the University of Alabama, Birmingham, and I have been spending a ton of time back and forth between Atlanta and Birmingham, helping her to get her life together and ready to step out there in the real world. And a ton of time with work. So we have not been putting out the level of content that we would normally put out, Jay. But now that we are in that final stretch with my baby, we are back on it. And we have a fresh new topic here because I think this is an interesting one, Jay. Devin Haney now has punching power. Jay, over the last, let's call it, couple of days, I've seen some things out there, and I want you and I to discuss it. Number one, I've heard Devin Haney mention that we are going to see a new and improved Devin Haney. He admitted that has some deficiencies in his game. We've heard now Shane Mosley mention that he has taught Devin Haney how to sit down on his punches, how to throw those knockout shots. We saw yesterday as a part of the presser, the commentator mentioned that we saw Devin Haney in his workout throwing shots where he's sitting down on his punches. And now perhaps Devin Haney has some incremental punching power that he's going to display as a part of his performance tomorrow. Now, I think that that's an interesting caveat, Jay, just simply because we've heard this for quite some time in terms of the sport of boxing. Punchers are born, they're not made. That's what we heard. And this is just my personal opinion, but I believe when you sit down on punches, that's great, but it also opens you up for the opportunity to be countered. It opens you up to get hit. I do not think Devin Haney has the strongest of chins. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not saying that he's glass chinned, but I don't think he has the strongest of chins. Shane Mosley is someone that I think is a good mentor in terms of how do you sit down on shots. But at the same time, Shane Mosley was also someone that was prone to get hit. We've seen it in the past. Now, the difference between Shane is Shane had a granite chin. So exposing himself to get hit was less risky for Shane versus someone like Devin Haney, who I believe needs to rely on defense and range in order to be successful, specifically as he's moving up to welterweight. So personally, I think that this could end up backfiring on Devin Haney if he were to go into a fight. It may not be risky in this fight per se, but it may end up being risky overall in terms of simply sitting down on your shot, sitting down on your punches, opening yourself up to get hit, and then eventually getting checked again. And this time you could get put out because he took some damage in that last fight, and we don't know what that damage did to his body, did to him psychologically. So we'll see. Jay, what's your thoughts on the potential of Devin Haney going into the ring and trying to demonstrate that he has additional incremental punching power?
Yeah, I don't think you can actually give additional power. I think everyone says it's the punch you don't see that takes you out. You know, now as far as placement, that could be in there, but if he's focusing on something he's never really done his whole career, and now he's trying to change the game in this fight here, Jose Ramirez is not a slouch. You know, he's not a champion like that, but he's not a slouch either. You know, the good thing about Jose Ramirez doesn't have has a lot of power himself, but I will say this: Devin has heart. The kid got up each time he got knocked down, all 3 times against Ryan. You know, so that's great. But to your point, it's going to open him up if he's really focused on. He's just all of a sudden he's going to have all this power and everything to get Ramirez up out of there. I don't know how that's going to work out for him. You know, you're trying something new. You're not in a tune up or anything like that. I don't know about that. It's going to be interesting. We don't know what type of Devin Haney we're going to get this fight. Like you said, he took a lot of damage in that fight against Ryan. You know, so I want Devin just to come back. I want to see how he's going to fight in general. I don't necessarily see him taking too many chances to really try to put some pepper on those punches that he normally throws beforehand? I hope not, because to your point, he can be countered. And I think that's what Ramirez is looking at. And Ramirez on his last leg, really. This is his last lifeline. So he's gonna put it all out there. Robert Garcia's been training him and trying to get him ready for Devin. I'm quite sure they watched a lot of tape on that last fight with Ryan, his deficiencies. And Devin finally came out saying that he did have a lot of mistakes, have some mistakes in that fight against Ryan, other than say that, but we'll see what Shane puts out there. Shane has also been critical. I give Devin also in team credit because Shane was critical of Devin, and they called Shane in. So we might see a different Devin. Maybe not one with a knockout power, but he might be able to place him differently. But it's not going to help as far as pure power. It's going to be about the placement.
In my personal opinion, I've said this about multiple fighters, and I'm going to include Shakur Stevenson in this. Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, they're the two main fighters that I've said this about. I want to see what happens when they're in the ring with a fighter that can reach them from range. I just want to see what they demonstrate at that point because, and this is just my personal opinion, people are going to call this hate, but I don't see where either one of those fighters actually counters a lot. They typically use range as their defense. They are longer, they are rangier than their opponents, and they can tend to fight from outside. Specifically, Devin can be reached, or he can reach you from distances that you can't reach him. And that has been a hallmark, in my personal opinion, in terms of his overall game. And so Ryan Garcia was someone that was a tad bit taller, someone who had the range to reach him, and he struggled. And Jose Ramirez, if I'm not mistaken, he's a little bit taller than Devin. He has the range. So I just want to see how Devin fares. Now, do I believe that Jose Ramirez is going to beat Devin Haney? I don't, because I don't think he has the requisite skill set. But I think he can hit him from range. And just because I think he can hit him from range, I think Devin will ultimately win, but I don't think he's going to look impressive. Now, he can try to sit down on his shots. We'll see if that ends up working out for him. I don't know. But personally, I think Devin wins, but I don't think he looks impressive winning. So we'll see what ends up happening, specifically at welterweight, because again, I think if you're at welterweight, you're going to run into guys that are taller, that are rangier, that is going to now require you to slip, counter, move out the way, counter. You just can't jab from range and get your offense off. I think Shakur is better situated in terms of fighting from range than Devin Haney because I think he is a lot better at anticipating punches and blocking them, catching them. But I still think you need to have the ability to slip shots and then get your own shots off, and that you just can't simply catch and wait for an opponent to open up so that you can throw your punches and wait for an opponent to not throw when you throw. So I just want to see how ultimately he develops, and we'll see what happens. Anything else you want to share?
We got 24 hours. It'll all come out there and we'll know what Devin's going to be about for sure.
Yep. You guys let us know what you think in the comment section. Will Devin Haney display new power on Friday night against Jose Ramirez? I doubt it, but we'll see what ends up happening. Let us know what you think. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media, and we are out.